What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham Gius and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. Of course, today we're talking Season 2, Episode 2 of the Edge and Christian show, entitled Hey You Guys, with multiple U, Y's, and S's in there. The Edge and Christian show has quickly become the best thing going on Monday nights, at least wrestling-wise, because Raw sucks. Raw has sucked for a very long time. So I know we're only 2 episodes in, but Season 2 is already off to a strong start. So if you're sick of Raw and you don't want to watch WWE programming anymore, sign up for the network if you aren't already signed up. Then watch the Edge and Christian show. It's well worth the $9.99. Way better than Raw, well worth the time. It's only 23 minutes compared to Raw's 3 hours. How can you have a 3-hour show where almost nothing happens from week to week? I don't know. Yet a 23-minute show on the network is way better and way more entertaining than anything you'll see on Raw. Purely my opinion, but it's kind of the truth. So we kicked off this episode with an edition of The Moonies, a skit that carried from the beginning of the show to the end of the show for this week. Obviously a play on The Goonies. I was never a big Goonies guy. The movies, it's a good movie. It's from the 80s. I love the 80s movies. Never been a big Goonies guy. So it has Sean Mooney in it, Edge, obviously Sean Mooney, Edge, Christian, Tommy Dreamer as the fat kid. I can't really tell you which character plays which character, because again, I'm not really a fan of the movie. But yeah, Mooney's in it. They embark on an adventure to find his pants, which he can't find after losing them in Season 1. So we have Mooney, Edge, Christian, Dreamer as the fat kid, and then Funaki as the Asian kid, which I thought was hilarious. So then, like I said, they embark on an adventure to find Mooney's pants. So to be continued in the remainder of this show. In the meantime, we have the ENC Employment Agency, where they want to give jobs to people who no longer want to be wrestlers. They tease doing that for Pat Patterson and Mean Gene Okerlund and Jimmy Hart, showing clips of their time in WWE, and then showing clips of them on, Legends House, which I talked about here on the network a few years back. So that was a fun little skit. We have another skit called Tagging In, where Edge and Christian interview, they don't actually interview anyone. They just splice in interviews, like clips of interviews from past interviews. So Edge quote-unquote talks to AJ Styles. The AJ Styles interview was from when he sat down with Michael Cole for an exclusive WWE.com interview right after WrestleMania 32. So Edge pretends to talk to AJ about him being in Cats on Broadway and his big career, and they take quotes from AJ that make it sound like what Edge is saying makes sense. So, and it's funny. It's nothing, blow away, but it was funny. So we have the continuation of the Moonies. They embark on the adventure, like I said, and they're on their way to find Mooney's pants. In doing so, they're down in like some cave or something like that, and Dreamer goes, "Oh, it's dark and it's cavernous and it's devoid of any life down here." Then Christian goes, "Are we in the impact zone?" And Dreamer, even better than that, Dreamer goes, "Come on, I kind of work there," which is true. Dreamer does work there as an agent, as a producer. He was in the main event of Impact Wrestling a week ago, as I record this. The guy does work for Impact. So I thought it was comical they took shots at Impact when Dreamer does indeed work there, and they acknowledged it too. I thought that was great. While down in the cave, Vicky Guerrero shows up, Santino Marella shows up, and Nunzio show up. And then Funaki brings out the arrogance spray from, was it Rick Martel who used to carry that thing around? The arrogance spray. He sprays it on Vicky and Santino and Nunzio, and that makes them go away. Our next skit is with Painting for Joy with Rob Sauce, who is basically Bob Ross, but it's Rob Sauce. It's Bob Ross, but Christian's doing the impersonation. He starts painting on Goldust's face. Goldust does not like it. It's a fun little skit. We get the return of the Chump Stain Challenge. Last week, Edge won. This week, it's called Figure It Out. So the rules for this week's Chump Stain Challenge entail a silhouette of a WWE superstar action figure from the 80s. If they can accurately guess who the silhouette is of, then they win the round. So I'm actually surprised how many they got right here. They got almost all of them right, both Edge and Christian. And I tried to guess myself. I'm like, oh, that's obviously like Andre the Giant, or that's obviously this guy or that guy. I was wrong in almost every single fucking one. These guys are action figure connoisseurs and get pretty much... Edge goes undefeated here. Christian got 2 wrong, so he lost. Edge won the challenge. But I was very impressed. I mean, those action figures, even though I'm sure they grew up on them in the 80s, that was 30, 40 years ago. And they do a pretty damn good job of guessing them right. Edge gets every single one right, even the one that Christian got wrong. Edge knew as soon as Christian said, like, the fucking, whoever it was. I think he said, I don't remember, but it was Hulk Hogan. It was Hogan, and Edge knew immediately that it was Hogan, and he knew that Christian got it wrong and that he was going to win the challenge, so I was impressed. The Revival then go to Tag Team Therapy with Bayley as their therapist. This whole thing is filled with gay jokes. So if that's not your thing, you don't find it funny, this may not be for you, but I thought it was hilarious. They talk about experimenting with new moves. You want to do all these flips. What about just fisting? All you want to do is fisting. And then Bayley's like looking at her fist like, what the fuck is going on here? And they're talking about, I don't want to finish people. You have a great finish, but I don't want to finish people all the time. And they make a lot of sex puns, a lot of sex jokes. I thought it was really funny. The Revival played their roles here very well. Bayley was also good too. And Bayley gets to a point where she's like, fuck it, this is way too intense for me. I can't take it. I'm going to leave. Then the Revival get encountered. They're encountered by Michael P.S. Hayes. Even though it's not actually Michael P.S. Hayes, it's Edge dressed up as Michael P.S. Hayes. And he's like, I could take the Revival straight to the top. And then Scott Dawson, I think it's Scott Dawson, he runs off with Hayes and leaving Dash Wilder on his own. He's like, fuck, now, I don't know. Dawson's like, I'm going to go fly like a bird. And he flies away and then leaving Dash Wilder by himself. Even the roles might have been reversed there. I might have flipped the two names by accident, but I'm pretty sure that's how it played out. But it was funny, though. We have Word on the Street with Finn Balor. This week's Word of the Week is over, which is comical that they're doing that with Balor, because Balor's big thing at this time about a year ago was that the dirt sheets were poking fun at how Vince McMahon did not think Balor was over enough. So he talks about being, walking over a piece of poop. He talks about being over the moon. And then you see him watching a video of Bobby Lashley on Raw. Then he says, over? With a question mark at the end. I thought that was funny. We get the culmination of the Moonies at the end of the episode here. Carlito shows up. The whole gang, Christian, Dreamer, Funaki, Edge, Mooney, they're all making cracks at, this boat is Primo, because they end up on a big deck. And Funaki says deck, but Edge thinks he says dick. So they're making, dumb jokes here. Again, it's very, slapstick comedy humor, a lot of dumb humor, but I thought it was funny. They talk about the boat being Primo and how it's epic, and they're making all these jokes, and then Carlito goes, who's writing this shit? It's like Brian Gewirtz, and they drop all these references, which I thought was great. He jokes about being buried all the time. He's like, why didn't they ever have me win one of these championships? So, because they found that they defeat the villains that are they defeat the villains that are Vicky Guerrero, Santino, and Nunzio. They're bye-bye after the big ugly monster from the Goonies shows up. I don't know who dresses up as him. He looks familiar. I don't know who was under the disguise, though. Anyway, so, they find the championship titles. I don't know about Mooney's pants, but they found championship titles. And they gave one to Christian. It's a WWE Championship belt, the spinner WWE Championship belt. Christian's like, oh yeah, I never held this one. This one's cool. And then Dreamer goes, oh, where's my belt? And then everyone just cracks up laughing, and that's the end of the episode. I thought this was good, and they start chanting, Moonies, Moonies, Moonies. I thought this was entertaining. The whole Moonies thing was great. Another very entertaining episode of the Edge and Christian show. Check it out on the WWE Network, Season 2, Episode 2, entitled, Hey, You Guys, which must be like a spoof or a pun on something from the Goonies. That might be one of the kids' lines. Don't jump on my throat. I don't know here. I honestly have not seen the movie in full length before. I might have. I never really cared for the Goonies, so I don't really get a lot of the references, but I know for the most part which characters they're trying to spoof, what they're going for. I appreciated it anyway. And the overall episode, not only of just the Moonies, but this edition of the Edge and Christian show, was excellent on its own. So check it out on the WWE Network. Like I said, a way more worth your time than Raw is, without a doubt. So thank you guys for checking out the video. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll be back next week with a new Network and Chill. No new Network and Chill this weekend because Total Divas has wrapped up for right now. We get the return of Total Bellas in about a little over a month and a half. So we'll talk about that on Saturday starting in 2019. In the meantime, though, Network and Chill will be staying right where it's at on Tuesdays. Maybe a new episode at random discussing whatever else they watch on the network over the weekend. But beyond that, New Network and Chill every Tuesday, talking about whatever airs after Raw on the WWE Network. So, till next time, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.